Hey everybody, Dave Kincaid here. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are today. Um, I want to give a little demo video here of my book, The Ultimate Guide for Winning Government Grants, 100 Golden Grant Rules. I'm just going to give you kind of three key points from the book. And to begin with, just tell you why I put this together. I put this together because over the years, I got into grants back in 2004, working at the Alberta legislature, and then full time in 2012, and then opened Alberta Business Grants in 2015. And so I've worked now with literally hundreds of people on grants, and I've learned a lot. And I got so many questions about grants because there's a lot of people that don't know much about them. And I just said, I've got to put these all in one place so that if someone is looking to improve their grant applications or has questions about grants, or you have two business partners and one person kind of knows a little bit and the other person doesn't, like how the cash flows, or you're thinking about starting a business and you're trying to figure out the grant things. It was really meant to be multiple conversations I've had with different people about any topic in grants. So let me just give you a kind of a high-level overview of what this looks like. So when you purchase it, it gets emailed to you and you download. You can see it's 79 pages here. And it comes down here, and this is the table of contents. So it kind of goes through, what are grants? Because sometimes there's some people out there that aren't really sure. Literally, it's, money you don't need to pay back, and they don't take equity in your business. Who receives them, how they're working, which businesses are actually getting these things. I deal with a lot of myths. There's a lot of myths around startups and women and stuff like that, and the type of business you're in. Tips on how to find grants. I go through how government works. Meeting grant agencies, a major issue. Most of you are familiar with Dragon's Den or Shark Tank. Well, this is similar to that, but they're bureaucrats, so you need to approach it wisely, a little bit differently. I'm a writer by trade, so I give a lot of tips on how to improve your writing and how I go about writing these grants. And when I edit a lot of people's work, I always see this, the same 6 to 10 issues showing up. So I give you tips on you can dramatically improve your writing. Even working with grant writers, I know I've worked with people who hire grant writers, they do it themselves, and there's pros and cons for that. I give you tips on how you can structure the deal for both parties so it's fair. Some legal issues, some psychology issues. Grants have a huge psychological component where some people are, they've had a bad experience a long time ago and they never want to get back into it. And then some surprises and best practices. So it really covers all aspects of grants depending on where you are. But I just literally want to focus in on just 3 of them today, and I'll let you go. But let's go to the first one I want to go to is grants for expenses in the past. So all the time, people usually, it's one of the first questions I get is, can you go back for expenses? And the answer is mostly you can't, okay? There's only a couple grants out of 100 that you can actually go back on. And that would be some employment grants where you hired someone within 12 months, or like construction type grants where they'll let you go back. Some will, some won't. But you generally, by and large, 96 times out of 100, you can't go back. And that's a common question I get. So let's go look at another common one. And I call it, it's not about you, it's about them. So I teach a lot about how grants work, where they come from, but really, the government has a platform. They come up with grants to help them reduce emissions, right? So really find out what they want, and it should help the government tell their story. Like picture them out in front of your building cutting a check. It's like your project helps them. But so often I deal with people where they come to me and they're like, yeah, I'm doing this really cool thing, but the government wants to do their cool thing. And you better make sure that your cool thing makes them achieve their mandate, because they're held accountable in election campaigns. So it's just kind of a different mindset, but it's a common one I come across. And one last one I want to leave you with here today, and it's the secret sauce. So, if I was to say, what's the most important rule of all the rules, right? It needs to have a major impact on the well-being of many taxpayers. Remember, grants are taxpayer money. So if your grant isn't going to, have a large impact on creating jobs, reducing emissions, or giving the government tax money, you're probably not going to win, especially in the innovative space. So you want to make sure when you're coming up with someone, if the government's going to give you money, that it's going to have a huge impact on taxpayers' lives in a positive way, or at least in the way the government wants. So those are just a few key points from this book. I wanted to kind of take you in behind the scenes and show you what it looks like. But it can be a reference guide as you go on your grant journey. Someday if you're writing or you're about to go meet a grant agency, read that section, and I think it'll really help you. And again, you can see they're not that long. They're just, each rule is kind of short, so you can get to them quickly. So that's it. That is 100 Golden Grant Rules, the ultimate guide for winning government grants, years and years of tips that I hope help you achieve your dreams. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.